do the show? I shouldn't say that live. Yeah, I'll say it. I'm used to pretending that I see what's on the screen. So I was like, yeah, that looks awesome. Great job. Yeah. I've gotten used to it. It's no worry.
Yeah, you guys are kind of far from me. Like, I see you, but I also do a lot of VR, so I think I kind of I might have damaged my vision a little bit. But I haven't been doing VR that long, so I must have, yeah, I might just need glasses.
It's like welding or something, where if you just stare at it, you're not equipped, you're gonna put your eyes out. I mean, I'm not that much in the VR space like I want to be because of work stuff, but I don't have VR eyes yet for sure.
Right, like VR eye implants would be pretty crazy. I don't know what that would look like in the real world. Like it's kind of like those blue and red glasses that you used to get when you were a kid to watch the 3D movies, and then you walk out into the real world and it's just weird.
Yeah,
but I would still wear them.
So
I mean, I the whole VR thing, but I really got sucked into it, and now I consider it like my second life, and I'm not even.
Ooh, nice.
I mean, I've always been a gamer, but I'm not, I've never been really social, and this is the most social I've ever been, being in VR. It's weird. I was like, this is what I was missing. It's just like being, I don't know. Virtual reality really brings out like the extrovert in me somehow. But I've had so much fun with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. These times have kind of, a lot of us have found more friends than we had before from like kind of having to like isolate and go into more of the internet social world than like the normal social world, I think.
Or sometimes even better friends than we had before, right?
I personally have found my best friends through crypto and blockchain and the internet,
Yeah. Same. I've been having so much fun lately, and it's like it's crazy that it had to take like getting into such dark places for us to like finally like find our kin. I keep hearing this from a lot of people in the crypto space, and it's just like, I mean, the internet's powerful, it brings like-minded people together, but I think crypto in particular really brings together a very specific type of the hardworking, imaginative, and I guess courageous kind of person, because it's such a new technology. It's like only attracting those people right now, and there's always opportunists, but it's like I've had basically 100% good luck so far in crypto, at least NFTs. So it's been great.
I mean, knock on a glasswood table, because I want that to continue. So let's take a quick step back, though.
Intro.
You're fast becoming one of my favorite people, and I just met you like about I don't know 3 minutes ago, so that's fun. But welcome to our second episode of Love is the Answer with Ollie. And me and Nathan, of course. And you can hear in the background, because my missus just opened the patio door, even though I live in the middle of the city. All of Osaka's cicadas have decided to join us for today's show as well. So that's the chirping sound. They're chirping in appreciation of you and all that you do, Ollie.
For you.
So for those of you who don't know you very well, myself included, please just give us an introduction. Give us some background on you. How you guys met. Everything about Ollie. Let's make it the Ollie show.
Oh, me? You're talking to Nathan. I appreciate the fact that you like me. I love music. I've just been into music since I was a little kid. I kind of gravitated towards it naturally. I've always been an introverted person, and music has been how I learned to interact with other people and share my thoughts and emotions, with things that I couldn't say. So I think I'm primarily a lyricist. I do a lot of instrument work and work with a lot of collaborations. So I kind of try to fit in wherever I'm needed. I'll do, play guitar, piano, that kind of stuff on people's tracks. And usually I do a lot of demo work. So I'll write songs for people, sing over their songs, their top line instrumental type of things. I've done a lot of top lines as a featured artist, and written those for a lot of producers and DJs. And yeah, most recently I just started my solo Oli project, which I try to focus on like just self-awareness and love, and also facing fears. You'll notice in a lot of my lyrics and my songs, they're all about kind of like either fear or kind of like post-apocalyptic kind of messaging, like dystopian sci-fi. That's kind of what I go for when I write for myself, but just in like a lighthearted way, like a fun kind of cathartic thriller type. Like I if I had all the budget to like create, I guess like music videos and all the stuff that I wanted to, I feel like I'd be like not horror, but like thriller suspense genre. You know what I mean?
I love the contrast with that, actually. Yeah, we'll play some stuff a little bit later, but yeah, it's like that post-apocalyptic. I'm gonna try to bring it up here. The album cover that you had on your website. If you guys are watching this back later, I definitely recommend going and checking out olliesounds.com. I mean, that just works. It's like your parents knew you were going to be a musician when they named you. I don't really know what happened there, but like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good name. I think one thing that's interesting about that is a lot of people think that you have to write from a place of like happiness to make like good music that's compelling. I think I don't know, I've got this like reputation of being like a happy, loving person, but some of my favorite art and music is like darker music or more expressive from that perspective, like more, I guess, expressing the sad, deeper emotions that I just try to avoid. And I noticed that you said that that's sort of how you express that stuff. Like it's easier. Do you think it's also a way that you process those emotions? Because for me, when I'm going through a tough time, music and art sort of help me figure things out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I've expressed a lot of uncomfortable emotions like sadness and loneliness and stuff through music, but I also express a lot of happiness. You know, I'm very, I guess I would say I can be very stoic in real life in my interactions, and I spend a lot of time alone just working, and I love reading. I've always been kind of like a bookworm type of person. But yeah, I definitely express all kinds of emotions, and I find it very healing. I'm actually, I would say like, I'm not necessarily, I think I lean towards being more of an optimist. I'm a pretty positive person, and I think that's partially because I release more emotions, and I've been lucky to have that way, like music as a channel to do that since I was a kid, you know, so it's helped me definitely in life for sure, processing all sorts of things. But yeah, music is so healing, not only to create but to listen to.
You mentioned that you kind of have been doing that since a kid. Like, what got you into music originally as a kid?
Well, when I was little, I mean, my parents loved music. My grandparents, we lived with my great grandparents and my grandparents. And everybody listened to all kinds of different music. My great grandparents were like primarily Spanish speakers. Like they spoke like almost no English at all. So they listened to a lot of Latin music. My grandmother listened to a lot of classics, Nat King Cole, and she liked opera. And then my mom was like a classic rock person, and my dad likes Motown. So I had like a huge eclectic mix of music growing up, and I loved it. I also had I had really bad ear infections as a baby and into my childhood, and I got really bad tinnitus, and it kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it audio hallucinations, but I definitely hear music a lot, like in my head, and I think sometimes it's like the tinnitus, and I'm just trying to like, my imagination is trying to like, you know, create something out of the buzzing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I had this conversation. I totally know what you're talking about, by the way, and I'm not a musician or an artist, but I had this conversation with our good friend Yoshi over at YoshiDrops, and David as well. We're doing a drop with Bad Days and some music crypto that's going on right now with YoshiDrops, and I was talking about like how a few years ago I used to like kind of half wake up in my sleep, and I used to hear music like new original songs that nobody has ever heard before. And like, I kind of learned to like keep it going, because when I woke up, they would like disappear. But like I got to the point where I could be like half between the state of conscious and not conscious and keep it going. But the problem is I could never remember them after. I could never put them on paper. I'm not a musician, right? And I was talking, I do the same thing with art. I'll have like these images in my head, but I don't know how to recreate them, because like by nature, I'm not a musician. I'm not an artist. I never learned how to do that. What's interesting about this is Yoshi said, this is like a gift, like this is a talent. Like there are ways that you can tune into the exterior universe, and you can bring that, you know, from where you are. You can bring that back towards you know, yourself, and have that be a part of, you know, what you take out there to the world. So
yeah, I think that you probably have a really powerful imagination. Like that's a huge strength, especially for artists. Like if you're not, I mean, our imaginations are, you don't have to share it with other people. Like a lot of people do. Like I feel like I express myself through my imagination, but I think just in the way the world is, like the matrix we find ourselves in, it's very powerful to create, you know, your own dream life in a weird way. Like the power of daydreams is real, you know, like Disney, it's like they made a fortune off of just fairy tales, you know, like that stuff's beautiful. We need an escape. I dream a lot, like I lucid dream a lot, and I've definitely written music in my dreams. It's interesting. Like yeah, I'll have really weird dreams, and I have a lot of night terrors too. And I just kind of like, I think I had to learn to cope with them by lucid dreaming in a weird way. So I will wake up all the time, like you said, like half awake and half asleep. And you know, when you have sleep paralysis and then you see like scary stuff. And like I've learned how to create like good experiences out of that. Like you said, like you've heard music and you don't want to wake up out of the stupor because it's so cool, you know, and you're hearing it through a sense that isn't necessarily understood by science, you know, but you're still experiencing something beautiful. So I mean, I believe in the power of dreams. I think that they've helped me a lot mentally and just even artistically.
Absolutely. I've felt like I've seen things in dreams that have actually come to fruition. One thing I want to say really quick, Jimmy D, is it possible that in your dreams you're the greatest musician that has ever lived?
I mean, anything's possible, right? Like I've got pretty varied taste when it comes to music, but like I like it. I mean, I would listen to it. Like,
what style do you play? What's your
like it's weird. It's almost like a theme song, like out of a movie, like this weird background music that would you know, just pop up. And so one of my favorite cheesiest scenes of all time. I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a movie back in the day where this guy, I think he's from New York. He got out of prison, and he was about to head out onto the street, and he got his old clothes back from the 70s, and he walks out, and he's wearing these like high-topped glass-bottomed shoes with like a little goldfish swimming in the bottom of them. But actually, now the goldfish is dead, right?
Oh no!
Because it's been a few years, and he's just walking down the street. And then they pan out, and what you see is this like marching band following him, playing his theme music, right? So that's kind of the way that I feel sometimes. I kind of feel like life in itself has this background, right? Like we grow up listening to white noise, and there's like, it's full of it, right? I mean, you can hear the cicadas outside, you can hear the city outside, you can hear the forest outside, you can hear the trees. You can actually hear the forest through the trees, right? Like this is a thing. Most of us live in cities, we don't get that, right? But if you live on the beach, wherever you happen to live, and I think that like a lot of times when we're in balance with the world and how it exists, we tune into those sounds, and those sounds become a part of us. And they can be bad as well. I mean, I worked in a factory when I was younger, and I worked in the metal press area. And for 8 hours a day, all I heard was and I would wake up in the middle of the night hearing these sounds. Like I couldn't turn them off, right? So I think it really depends on where in your life you are and the things that you can tune into. I think that's really important, because that lucid dreaming thing that you brought up is really interesting too. And so for people who don't know what lucid dreaming is and the benefits of it are, Oli, do you want to maybe expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, lucid dreaming is just being aware that you're dreaming when you're asleep, when you're dreaming. So a lot of times it can mean that you can control your dreams, but sometimes it just means that you're aware of the fact that you're dreaming. So when stuff happens, if it's scary, it doesn't worry you as much. It's also interesting because some people use it to, not only like is sleep naturally for processing emotions and stuff throughout the day, like the stress of the day, but some people use it to finish tasks, like I'll wake up and have melodies finished, like that I was thinking of for a song. And people also I know a lot of artists, they'll dream of what they're gonna paint, they'll see it in their dreams before they make it a reality. And I think even a lot of inventors have seen things in their dreams before they actually figure out the mechanics of it. But it's interesting. Our subconscious, it's very active and powerful, and I think it's a well of information if you can tap into it.
Have you ever seen something in your dreams that somebody else ends up doing? Because that happens to me a lot. Like something like, I don't know, some like concept for something, or just like, I don't know, even like a song or piece of artwork, anything like that. Like, I don't know. I mean, everything's kind of connected. Have you ever kind of noticed that? Like you see something in a dream and then someone else does it?
I haven't dreamt of things that have happened. Not that I can think. I'm sure there's been some kind of, that's had to have happened once. But I do think about things a lot. Like I'll think about someone and they'll text me or call me right after. And it's like, I journal a lot too. And just to organize like the things that happen throughout the day, because I'll forget. Like Nathan, like I literally forgot like
it's okay. I forget a ton of stuff.
So that was because I didn't write it down. So if I try, I write things down 98% of the time so I don't forget. And
I'm the same.
Good. But yeah, I'll write down like someone's name, like oh, I need to talk to this person, and my phone will ring. So it's like I know that it's not some weird deja vu thing I'm experiencing because I have proof, that I wrote it down.
Yeah. Yeah, if I didn't write everything down, like people would probably be like actually somewhat disturbed, even nervous hanging out with me if they knew like the amount of things that I'm capable of forgetting. And like I almost forgot to pay my rent recently. Like they'll kick me out and I have the money to pay it. And I just like space completely. And they call and they're like, hey, do you have that? And I was like, yeah. So like I have to write things down the same way as you. But I think that's part of being an artist. I think part of using that side of our brain all the time, you can only do so much. It's that rule of diminishing returns. Our brain is so wired in one direction that it's not going to give us all the juice on the other side as well. But it's like the grass is always greener type of thing. Like a lot of people that aren't like quote unquote creatives envy, our sense of creativity, but we envy their sense of organization or their level of like, I don't know, ability to just kind of get things done at times. So I don't know if you experience that too as an artist.
Yeah, I definitely envy people that are more logical than me. I mean, I've done okay in school, I guess. Like I've gotten a couple A's in math, but I like cried the whole time. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff did not come easy to me, and I still to this day, like, just for fun, I like doing like math tutorial videos, because first of all, I'm like really, really bad at math. Like I have to write everything down. I cannot mentally calculate worth crap. Okay. So like I am wholly a right brain creative person, but I definitely like envy like that sometimes because I'm like, oh, I'd be so powerful. But I think it's like it's the natural balance of the universe. Why we can't or we shouldn't have full capacity in both sides of our brain because we take over the world.
Do you think that's something that's going to be more and more kind of desired by others as time goes on? Because I have this theory that eventually artificial intelligence and machines will probably kind of take away all of like the basic jobs at the ground level, you know? And a lot of people are going to be trying to monetize off of their creativity. They're going to try to monetize their creative life force, essentially. So I don't know. Have you ever considered that? Like maybe it's like what seems like a disadvantage now at times is going to be extremely highly enviable and kind of sought after just in a few years. And like AI is maybe taking away the ability to do like basic jobs.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like AI is already creating like things that artists create too. So that scares me a bit because it's like if they're doing, you know, the kind of base jobs, they're doing hard labor and all that, like, but they're also doing the creative stuff. Like, what does that leave us for? And I guess it really does leave us to each other, you know. So we really need to, I don't know, learn how to connect better. And for me,
I do have a theory on that.
Huh?
Okay, it's time for another Jimmy D rant. So tune in and get ready because here it comes. Back to what you were saying before, right? About like apocalyptic, underpinnings of things that you think about and things that you like. I'm the same way, right? Like I'm a big sci-fi fan, which is crazy, right? Because like I'm nature based. I'm a permaculturalist. I like being in the forest and in nature and growing like whole ecosystems and things like that. But sci-fi to me really like speaks, and I get pissed off. I'll be honest. I get pissed off about the fact that like we should be in space already, right? Like I don't even know if I want to go to space, but we should be there, right? We shouldn't be working 40-hour weeks, right? To be able to do something that is mindless, that basically has nothing to do with our essence and our being, right? Music does, art does, creativity does. I mean, even if you're an architect that is designing a building like around its surroundings in nature, or coming up with like some new scientific model, that has to do with creativity. But sitting in front of a desk, working a 9-to-5 job, as a mindless servant to a paperwork, a drone is what I like to call it. I mean, even if you're a hostess or a waitress or a waiter at a restaurant, you have that human connection, right? You have that ability to be creative with your personality. However, like I said before, I'm not a musician, so I kind of have this almost love-hate relationship where I would love to be able to plug a USB into my brain and take that information that I do dream up, that I do come up with, and like somehow render it on a computer, even though it scares the hell out of me, right? Like as a decentralized, person with Bitcoin and things like that, you do need to be responsible for your own, for your own investments, for your own safekeeping of your own crypto. But imagine now we take that and we are able to like put that on a private blockchain. You would have to be responsible for your own thoughts and your own feelings, like, because if somebody stole them, that's really freaky, as you say. But like, yeah, I like that idea, right? Like, I think that we should be able to better tap into these things, and we should be working towards that, as opposed to just sitting around, punching a clock, hanging out on Facebook, pretending to do work,
Hanging out
paid, right? Like, I don't hang out on Facebook, by the way. I'm really annoyed because they're making me. I want to play a video. They're making me sign up for Spotify, and that means I have to do Facebook, and that means I have to remember my password. It's just really annoying.
I hate passwords. Oh, real quick, before I forget this question, because you mentioned kind of Bitcoin for a second. If aliens came to Earth right now, do you think that they would think Bitcoin is stupid and that crypto is stupid? Do you think they'd think gold is stupid?
I think they would think that 95% of everything that we're doing is stupid, honestly. Like, I think like they'd be like, no wonder that you're not off this freaking rock yet. Look at the dumb shit that you're doing. But Ollie, you're the one with like, apocalyptic underpinnings. If aliens came to the planet, what would they think about all of these crazy things that we do? You know?
I'm not sure. I hope by then we have some. I hope I can't even imagine, honestly. Like, it's just like, first of all, they're probably they probably wouldn't want to talk to any commoners because they're probably billionaires from just other planets, and they're probably exactly the same as the billionaires here. And they'd probably just be like,
that's interesting.
These elitist aliens.
I would like to capitalize on it somehow, so show us how it works. Like that's probably what they think right off the bat. But hopefully we have some AI, like some sort of Neuralink tool, so we could communicate with them easily and quickly. And you know, that's what I'm excited about for Neuralink, just the possibilities for anyone with disabilities, and also for how it's going to help us communicate with people in other countries, you know, that have different, not only different languages, but different dialects. You know, those machines will learn it right away for us and be able to translate instantaneously as we're, you know, speaking to people. And that's going to be cool, because how many times have language barriers, you know, caused a lot of problems in work, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think it'd be better to have one language as a species, or like actually just like let the computer figure it out for us?
I don't know. I think probably if we keep evolving as humans, I think there will be one language. You know, if we make it that
or
far.
I mean, depending upon where you are in life, if you go back to evolving, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people out there in the real world, sorry, I'm going to throw it out there, that aren't evolving, that have stopped, right? They got out of high school, they stopped learning, they're just like in that headspace where they're not doing anything. And so like, I think, you know, I like what you say, although like I'm kind of, I mean, if aliens come, I kind of figure that they're already in the space. I mean, if we're the best that the universe has put out there, I'm a little bit afraid, right? And yeah, and who's to say that if aliens come, they're actually going to talk to humans? I mean, they might like come and they just might be like, oh, these humans are idiots. I'm going to go hang out with the cows, right? Like
these cows are very intelligent.
Yeah,
I like to give a snotty alien. It's like, these humans over here, gross. We're not going to even talk to each other. That might be how it would be, honestly. It's how we seem to treat cultures that we discover.
In India, aren't cows like deities?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that what they believe. Actually, I'm not going to go into what I think they believe, because they'll probably be taken the wrong way, and I will be like messing with somebody's culture, which I don't want to do. But what I will say is that I do think they consider them to be sacred.
Okay. Yeah.
It's almost a trap. I could have explained it completely wrong, but
no, I think you're right. I think it sounds right. Yeah, they're definitely deities. You know, they have, but different countries have different, you know, ideas around that, right? Like. I mean, I live in Japan, and I always get myself into trouble because I say if I was going to have a pet, because I live in an apartment, that I would get a rabbit. But my problem with rabbits is I would eventually end up eating it someday. You know, because like if you like the most sustainable food on the planet is actually rabbits. Do you know how many babies rabbits make, right?
Yeah.
And like Hawaii, like they have like, and you get gloves, right? So you get dinner and you get gloves. I mean, what's better than eating a cute cuddly rabbit? Not much. So look at right. Speaking of apocalyptic visions, right? Like these are the types of things that like we do spend our time thinking about. Me and Nathan, anyway, because we're a little bit out there on the spectrum.
We focus on the real stuff.
But yeah. So Morton has a question for you, Ollie. When are you going to do it? Do you know what YoshiDrops is, and when are you going to do the collab?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We're in discussions, and I will say this. We're in discussions, and we won't talk about the one half, but we will say that we're working on collaboration together, Oli and I, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's already awesome. It's getting awesomer. So
yeah, it's getting awesomer.
Awesomer.
It's a word. We stamped it. That's what that is. It makes it official. It's a word now.
Yeah,
People are
On the
gonna
block.
freak out. What was that? It sounded aggressive, but awesome.
So one of the things that I want to do now.
You have something ready?
Yeah, I want to play the little video that's on olliesounds.com. So I'm going to do that. So just give me a minute because I got to switch something here so that it doesn't come through my computer speakers.
Everybody be patient with Jimmy D. He's trying his best.
Oh, actually, I think this will work. If it sounds bad, give me a thumbs down and I'll render it a different way. But this one should work. So let's see, because I think this is really cool. I'm going to share the screen here, and I'm kind of curious to dive into some of this stuff that you're doing because you're doing music, but you've also got some really cool animations and stuff like that. In here.
You guys better look out. Her digital art is going to be something crazy, and it is coming soon. It is coming hot, and I hope that you can get this thing linked up already too, because I'm excited.
The audio is a little bit crackly for me when you guys talk. I don't know if anyone in the chat can hear that, but
no, I can. It's in my left ear, and it's driving me insane. It might be. I'm guessing
know.
it's Love's something on his end, but I'm not sure.
Why does it have to be my end?
Because I do that. I live stream like 24 hours a day, and I only hear it when you're here.
Oh my god!
So I'm not sure. It could be somebody else too.
I do understand too. It's never a problem.
So fair enough. Maybe it's our combined. Maybe our combined aura is blowing up the fuse boxes of the
our electricity
worldwide
causing issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, if this plays really badly, tell me, and I will just give me a thumbs down. Otherwise, I'll let it go. Welcome to olliesounds.com and the little promo video at the bottom, which I think is pretty amazing.
You every morning, steal my shirt, make it hurt like cash. Body space, my solid right exploring, orbiting your bike, getting high. Just like this, always in my name. Like a wish, here to stay, never change. Just like this, feel me like a hurricane with me. Say my name. Just like this, feel me like a hurricane when we just like this. Feel me like a hurricane when we just like this, just like this, just like this, just like that. Like a wish to stay, never change. Just like this, like a this, like a this, like this. Always say my name. Like a wish to stay, never change. Just like this, feel like a hurricane when we just like this.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say about it. What I'm going to say about it is this. This is how I'll break it down. I'm going to break it down just like this. Normally, I would say, oh, and that's it. We're done. She's out. She probably got angry because I muted her. She'll come back.
Oh, no.
No, but actually, I did figure out it wasn't you. I'm sorry. I take all that back. It was actually Ollie that was causing the crackling in the background. So,
Oh, no.
there we go. Okay, let's add her. Sorry, Ollie. That was my fault. I muted you during the video because actually it's you that was causing the crackling in the background. I just figured that out.
You got me in trouble.
Yeah. I get so. Here's what I'll say about that video. What I'm gonna say about this is there is nothing in that video for me not to love. Normally, I would tell you about all the great things, but there's just so many great things that are happening in there. Like, I love the fact that you kiss yourself from the big screen and dancing. Like these little quirky things that are in there just make it awesome to me. Everything about it. So tell us about this video. Tell us about like the concepts behind it. Tell us all of your thoughts, because I think people deserve to know.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you like it. I made that in partnership with Somnium Space and Ready Player Me. Somnium Space is a VR open world metaverse that is built on the blockchain. So a lot of the stuff that you saw in there is actually NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. And yeah, they have cars, working cars that you can drive in VR, and they have beautiful art. Like Beeple has a whole museum in there, or a whole art gallery. I'm not sure if he owns it or a collector owns it, but it's I know Ferocious is in there as well. It's a very beautiful world and totally immersive. Some people even have like full body tracking suits. They just partnered with Tesla suits, so you could actually feel the people around you and the rain and all sorts of stuff. It's like Ready Player One, basically, like as close as you can get in real life. And I go in there and I spend a lot of time in there. I play a lot of dance shows, as you saw in the video, and the community's great. It's a lot of really fun people that are all pretty artistic, a lot of collectors, a lot of crypto traders and stuff. And yeah, it's an exciting bunch. So I hang out there as much as possible, and it feels like real life to me. Like I always tell people, like, I'm like, if you want to hang out with me, you should probably be in Somnium Space, because that's where I am all the time. And Ready Player Me, they're a avatar company. They partnered with Somnium Space, VR Chat, a lot of other games, and they have a selfie-based generator. So you go to readyplayer.me and the website, and you upload your selfie, and it will generate an avatar for you. And then you can customize it in different ways. You can make face tats. You can do like different outfits and hair. Yeah,
that's really cool. I've actually never been in there. I should check it out. One of the things that I do in the space, that we do in the space, is Uplift World, and Uplift World essentially is a metaverse in itself that's built on a Minecraft layer. So we're actually looking at importing videos and things like that in the very new future, and putting that into the mix. There's some pretty amazing builds. So if you ever have time, I would love to see you over there and giving doing an Ollie installation or piece of art or something like that. But yeah, I like it. So there's like that video was all created by yourself. Like you wrote the music, you did everything musically and vocally behind it. What other things did you do with the video? Is the image rendering yours as well, or do you have some people that are helping you out on the back end for that?
I wrote that song and produced it and finished it with my friend Ryan, who's a producer. He did a couple of songs on my EP, Kill Me With a Kiss. He is an amazing producer from Canada, and yeah, so we did that song together, finished that song together, and then with the video, I filmed a lot of it myself with the in-world camera and screen recording and stuff. But most of it I was in VR, like actually with my VR goggles on, and I had a friend in there, Blake Hotz. He filmed a lot of the stuff too and helped me out. So yeah, I have a little community that helps me with different creative stuff, but yeah, I definitely couldn't do any of it by myself. But yeah, I was the idea was mine, and I really just loved the Somnium Space so much. I also didn't, since the pandemic, like I haven't really been able to film anything or do any, live shows and stuff like that. So I was like trying to be creative. I'm like, how do I make some good content for people, and something exciting and that's fun to make, and that really, it just kind of like evolved naturally, organically. I have a music video for my song Bicycle too, and it was filmed in Las Vegas during the pandemic, and all the streets are just like completely clear in Vegas. And I'm riding my bike down the street.
That's really cool, actually.
And it's
I like it.
An opportunity, honestly, to get
So-
that footage.
I'm gonna have to see that video because every time I hear the word bicycle, the Queen sound pops into my mind, and, like annoyingly so. So I need something
Oh,
new
it's
to like.
Every time.
It's a great song, but every time. I hope like. So one of the things that I really like about music, and the potential for what we're doing with YoshiDrops as well, is one of my favorite, musicians or artists of almost all time is somebody by the name of Lindsey Sterling. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's from Northern Europe, and she basically made herself famous using YouTube. She started doing these really interesting, quirky videos. She's a violinist. She mixed it with dubstep, and she started like wandering around through the forests of Northern Europe, and doing things like The Legend of Zelda, Link, Pokemon, these kind of like interesting mixes. And she got famous enough. She got enough viewers. She got famous enough that like she started traveling, and she was on stage with people like Snoop Dogg, in New York. This is how popular she became from the YouTube, sensation that she became. She did some really interesting creative works as well. And what you're doing here in the metaverse kind of reminds me of this, Ollie. And so I kind of want to ask you, like, where do you see for an up and coming artist like yourself, where do you see the potential that the metaverse or, this new kind of form of entertainment taking you? Is this going to be like a focus of yours? Is it like you mentioned about the pandemic and things being shut down, right? Like, are we at the point where actually we've tilted now?
I think things are forever changed, definitely. I don't know how it's going to play out in the future, but I think now that we've experienced this, cryptoverse and, the metaverse and just like, introspective time and different ways of creating and collaborating. I don't think it's, we're ever going to go back to normal. Also, just like, I hope that this time above all, like, makes us thankful for laborers and the people giving us food and stuff, that will, looking forward, will be more appreciative of them and, value them more, pay them more, because, we wouldn't have survived and been able to have this introspective time and be able to mess with crypto and all that without these people, and I think that that's a lot of the reason why society doesn't evolve, is because, so many humans do not have the chance to learn, and they don't have the chance to experiment with art and, do all the things that we do. They can't travel ever, whether there's a pandemic or not. They're literally living paycheck to paycheck, and that's in every single country, and that's not okay. When people are flying to the moon, it's not okay that people aren't able to put food on the table, for their kids, and, don't have a good quality of life. So there's no like easy answers to any of those the problems we face in the world, obviously. But I hope that this time has opened our eyes to the fact that, we have to fix things, otherwise, the doomsday clock is gonna strike midnight, faster than we we anticipate, because it just took was like one virus to just like totally destabilize everything.
Yeah, imagine
So
an
I hope that
asteroid hit
doesn't
us.
suck.
What if an asteroid hit or a solar flare or something like really crazy? Like it's like, you know, we can't really just come up with a cure for. Like it's complete actual impact physically. So that's kind of another thing. It definitely puts things into perspective. I don't think that a lot of us ever like really thought anything that could even happen, but it puts this emphasis on community and the fact that, you know, as humans, we seem to kind of find a way to build community and to spread love. Like it's a part of our DNA. Like even at the darkest of times when things are just shut off, like we find a way to get to each other and connect with each other. And I think that's one thing that's really good about a lot of the gaming economies and a lot of the kind of circular economies that are developing in the metaverse and just the NFT and crypto space in general, with a lot of the DeFi stuff going on and just, you know, the way it's kind of being incorporated into games. We have an opportunity for young people to actually feed their families from playing video games, instead of it kind of like hopefully being enough to where like parents could have the extra money to buy a game system for their kids. It's like, no, it's like the opposite now, or at least it can be. And I think that's a beautiful thing that's sort of, it was happening before that a little bit. It was starting to, things were kind of moving, but this has put a spotlight on that and how community can create economy. A lot of things that we deal with, and just like, I guess I would just generally call this like the uplift community. It's like, a lot of it's based on creating economy with community, is the way I put it. And it's something that I don't know. I think it's cool that some positive stuff could come out of this thing. And I think it's kind of awesome that we're all optimistic enough to look at the bright side, even though things don't seem that bright sometimes.
I think something just happened. I think you might have just damaged the universe irreparably so, because for some reason now there's two Ollies and I don't know what's happening.
Oh no!
I think you blew her mind.
I doubled her.
If we could switch to the other mic,
I think that might help the crackling, and I'll turn this one off.
Okay, there we go. I think you're there. Nope.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Let me put in my headphones. Sorry, 1 second.
It sounded like there was a demon in the room, and you really pissed him off.
Well, hopefully. I hope he's. No, I'm sorry. I think my cell phone was causing that, but yeah.
No,
I'm
okay.
sorry, Nathan. I was trying to hear what you were saying, and it was like. So.
Oh, there's no way I'm gonna repeat that. I don't even know what I said. But basically, it was just about how cool it's like, how it's like super cool that because you were saying how a lot of parents are struggling to even feed their families at these times. And I think it's cool that the metaverse provides a way for kids to actually feed their parents through these gaming economies. And it's just kind of like a miraculous thing that's come out of such a dark time. You see a lot of people have found a way to kind of not really need their jobs as much. And it was because of being put in a hard spot, in a tight spot. So I hate to, when so many people have suffered, I hate to be so optimistic about it, but like, I really think that these are the things that yield opportunity, these tough times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited for how things are going to go because, there's always going to be bad things, but there's so much good. And especially with, like you said, like kids are making money off of games. Like, nothing gets better than that, like you're just having fun and making money. Like, what? That's possible now? But it is, and it's just that's gonna be expanded upon, and I don't know if you guys have seen the movie WALL-E, but like it could be like a better version of that, where we're actually like we're not overindulging like in that movie, but we are able to just enjoy ourselves, and instead of being in VR all the time, it's like we're more in like some XR reality where where we all have our parcels in the metaverse, and we have these businesses running with people from all over the world, and then we also interact with the people in our lives and have more time to spend with our families and all that. And that's all because of crypto.
Yeah, blockchain and crypto have definitely changed my life. And it's cool because we know so many people who has just completely flipped the script for them in their life, and how many people still haven't even kind of wandered into this world like we have. And like so many lives are still going to change for the better. And that's why I think it's one reason it's important to kind of emphasize community and getting along in these times. Because in some ways it's like a reset opportunity for a lot of people. A lot of people are able to reconsider how they're traveling to work. Where do they work? What do they do? What do they want to do? Can I actually do what I want to do? A lot of people scaled back their situation to where like they're actually only spending what they need to spend. They're not being kind of ostentatious. They're not living somewhere that's too expensive. A lot of people pulled it in, and now as things open up, they're realizing like what they actually don't need. And what a lot of people don't need are jobs that make them miserable. You know, and that's the other beautiful thing about the gaming economy. It's freedom for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that that's one of the things that we're really passionate about over at YoshiDrops as well, is because if you can scale things back to a point of manageability to give yourself you know, enough time and enough money to survive decently, then there is no reason to have to get more of that, right? And you can focus some of those energies on being creative, right? On being social, on you know, reconnecting with who we are as a species, which is huge, right? And I think the power of YoshiDrops for me and the Uplift world is the fact that we're actually able to give creators back the power, right? Like there's because let's face it, not all musicians are like you, Ollie. Not all musicians are amazing and produce their own things and do everything themselves, right? There are musicians out there that, you know, aren't on stage, that aren't seen. The people who are writing the songs, the people who are rendering the music or the images, right? There's just a frontman, right? And I don't think that frontman deserves all the money either. Right, like Milli Vanilli, for example. I mean, did they deserve all the money? I don't know. How much money did the people on the back end get? I don't know either. Right, but like I think what's important is that the people who are creating are getting the value, right? And I don't care whether we're talking about music. I don't care whether we're talking about like the bigger economy, the real world economy, right? Like I live in a country who has made an art out of becoming middlemen, right? Like Japan is a middleman country, which is insane. Like 20 years ago, it wasn't. It was creating like top-notch technology. It was doing amazing things, but now everyone is just kind of living from hand to mouth because they've bought into that kind of economic ideal that was, you know, purported, you know, long ago. And when the economy shuts down, people, you know, tighten their grips, like Nathan said. So I think what's really going to be interesting is to see where we can go from here, right? Like we're all going to have to have enough money to live, have enough money to eat. But then if we can actually take that one step further and get in tune with those things that really matter, then I think that's where life begins, right? That's where.
Yeah. I love what you said about like listening to nature. I think there's so much importance in just rest as a species. You know, it's like every species, every creature on the earth rests except us. Like we don't stop, and it's kind of like it's not necessary. Yeah, it is. We're so I don't know. We have devolved in a way, because I know like probably in Paleolithic times, I mean, how else would you survive unless you took time to rest when you're, you know, trekking for miles and miles a day and hunting and gathering and all that, you know, like, I mean, we're all irritable. We're all, you know, when we're not working for someone else, we start working for ourselves and, you know, creating for ourselves, but we never really stop.
Right, and you're tired. You just hunted, and like you just spent like a day tracking, hunting, killing a mammoth. Like those things don't die easily. Like it's really difficult. You've killed a mammoth. Your belly's full. You're not gonna go kill another one so you can stockpile that shit. Come on. Like,
and you're definitely not gonna argue with people around you because you're kind of tired from hunting. And everybody's probably just happy and getting along. I think it's interesting that you bring that up because your song "Silence." You have a connection to the forest there. I remember we were talking. And because I go to nature to write, I go to nature to compress. My family has like property with a forest. I literally go there as much as possible and just like, sit there and listen. Could you give us a little bit of that story on how you wrote that song? Because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I was in Seattle and I was staying at a friend's beautiful house in Fall City. And yeah, I went out into the woods behind the house, and they owned a bunch of property like your parents, and it was just like woods forever, you know, and trails. And I took a walk with my dogs, and I literally hiked for like 6 miles in the woods. And I have never done anything like that before. I actually grew up in the desert, and it really just impressed me, like just you know, being in the trees, and I was just like, it was raining softly. It was just a very mystical experience, being just having nothing between me and the trees, you know, and the rain. And I just sat down, and my dog actually got really pissed off. He was like, "Why are we stopping, Mom? Like, this is boring." And I just like sat down and just kind of like literally like just listened to the silence, or just like the rain softly falling in the trees and the breeze. And it was so nice. And I just started kind of hearing the song, listen to the silence, you know, and I finished the song there, like sitting there in the trees. And yeah, it's the whole song is basically about our relationship to nature and how we kind of like forgot it, you know, being city dwellers. And I know a lot of people like they still, you know, they still appreciate nature, and they all seem like they're happier, you know, they all seem more fulfilled. And I think if everybody could get into nature more. I know in Asia, like I read a study, I wish I remembered what school it was. It might have been in Japan, actually, Jimmy. But they did this study where they took some college students and made them walk barefoot through the forest, and they found that just the fresh air and the soil, the natural soil against their skin, it helped them perform better in tests somehow.
Right, yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up, because I lived for 2 months in New Zealand in the forest, designing revamping a kind of damaged area from natural disaster. And so we went in there and we were revamping it. And I walked around every day in the forest in my bare feet, essentially, which sounds crazy. But when I got back to the city, when I got back to Auckland, I remember like going out with my friend, having a couple drinks, going to the supermarket, and walking back to my other friend's place. And like I got like maybe 3 minutes down the road, and I was like, this isn't right. This is weird. So I took my shoes off and I walked home, right? Like with no shoes on in the middle of the city, right? Like, basically walking on the parkways and stuff like that. But like of course my feet were super dirty after that. It's not like, but there's something to be said for what you're saying, right? Like just sitting down, listening, like getting out and about, right? Like we don't notice the white noise. And I think the white noise is part of our souls dying, honestly. In the background, like we do need that time to reconnect to hear the silence. I'd like to play this song if you're okay. I think we should listen to it.
It's awesome.
That'd be awesome. Let's do it. Let's go.
Right. Let's do it.
Go.
I think it'll load.
Bones cry out tonight. Seek will coming light. Keep your eyes wide, never trust the time. Oh, listen to the silence. Keep your eyes wide, never trust the time. Oh, listen to the silence. Hearts without a home, go where the wind blows. Oh, keep your eyes wide, never trust the time. Oh, listen to the
I mean, yeah. Sorry.
Did you mute me?
No, you're okay now.
Had you muted me? I'm just kidding. I'm just giving that time.
I had.
I made that with my friend Danny, who lives in Portugal. He's an amazing producer, Danny Esco. And yeah, I wrote it. I recorded it singing with guitar and sent it to him. And yeah, he laid down all those amazing guitars and stuff on it and made the cool beat. And yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's hard to find like really, really talented producers where you just hand them the stuff and they're okay, I got it. Let me just,
Yeah.
So awesome.
He heard the little guitar riff I did and really, I think he really understood just my intention behind the song because he really made it something like really special. I think I'm really proud of that song. It's one of my favorites I've released.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's actually something that three producers, like two of them I told you about. Actually, no, I told you all three of them now. The other one is like kind of like a big deal here. They all heard that the song we're working on, but also the guitar part that you did, and we're like, "Who's that playing guitar?" I was like, "Oh, it's her."
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's like an underrated thing that people forget about. Like a lot of musicians aren't doing their own guitar work or their own accompaniment of any kind. Nor are they writing their own songs these days. A lot of these things are just kind of purchased by record labels. And I mean, I've written songs, you've written songs. Like everybody's done this stuff where it's like, it essentially gets taken and just put somewhere. And you don't really know what's going to happen to it. It's cool that, I love artists that are just involved in the entire process.
Yeah, I try to listen to the song and the muse and see what happens, because a lot of songs I don't do any music on. A lot of my stuff is dance, electronic music. So as much as I produce demos and stuff, I'm nowhere near as talented as some of the producers I've worked with, like Blau or Rain Man. They're wizards when it comes to electronic music production. But anytime I can sit down with my guitar and write a song, it's very intimate and special time for me, because that's how that's where I came from. That's my roots. You know, I played guitar since I was 5, and yeah, my dad taught me, so it's very special to me whenever I'm able to do that and share that with people. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, I really like it a lot, and you've changed the course of my daughter's life, because I just realized something. Like, everyone I talk to who ends up being a well-rounded, incredible musician, their fathers played Motown when they were kids. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start playing Motown and your music for my daughter, right?
Oh, yeah, yes, it's the best. It's the best. Oh man, there's this.
Yeah, my daughter's here beside me now. She's sitting on the floor because I don't like to show her on the live stream. But yeah, when your music came on, you know, she stopped what she was doing. She stood up and she's like looking up at the table. She's like, up, like she wants to see it, right? Like she really loved it.
And the kids know. They know it's good. You can hear it.
They know, yeah. So, yeah.
That's so cool. That's like my goal, you know, for kids to like me. Yes.
Right. But I mean, she's 1.5 and she's a bit nuts, right? Like she dances. She loves music in general. Like some of her favorite stuff is just like really weird. But yeah, like she sings and she dances. But that's a tall order. Like she is always hearing music in the background. So for her to like sit up and know that like this was different, for her, I think that's something special. So yeah, I might be biased.
Play Billie Holiday for her. It's not exactly Motown. It's my favorite singer of all time.
I love Billie Holiday.
And Erykah Badu is my other favorite singer. I have interesting taste.
Yeah, but you know. Hey Ollie, please come back like anytime.
Seriously,
this is awesome. Like I love diving into the music, but also like just your personality and your beliefs and your the way that you've structured your life, and like it comes through your music, like you said, right? Like this whole song came out of the fact that you were sitting in the forest, you were, you know, grappling with some things, and what came out of it was just astonishingly amazing and beautiful and brilliant, in my opinion.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I feel the same about you guys. I feel like I've known you guys a long time, even though I've only known you since this podcast, and Nathan for a couple week or so. Actually, I've followed you for a long time, Nathan. So I definitely
there's been like Twitter stuff, but nothing.
Yeah,
you know.
I like definitely like your Twitter has helped me through a lot of hard days, like for a long time. So I am forever grateful for that. And
thank you. That's all I ask. I try to share the good and the bad. That way people know that, you know, it's okay not – a lot of people just present the good stuff, and then a lot of people go around feeling like extra unhappy because they're like, look how happy all these people are. Like they never feel as sad as I feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for people to realize that like a lot of us go through ups and downs, you know. I've had several points throughout even this day where it wasn't going so good and then it was going good. So it's like it's important to share the good, the bad, and the ugly with people. And I'm just happy that you notice, and you keep doing what you do too. You do way more than I do. So like I said, my fiance and I jam out to that one song of yours like all the time. It's kind of our song. So yeah, I appreciate you being you, and thanks for you know, just keep it up, I guess. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This has been so great, guys.
Yeah, and like I said, please come back. But before we let you go, just one question, because we didn't talk about this. People want to know if you have created NFTs or where they can see that work. I think we answered it early in the stream, but we can say it again just before we drop off.
Yeah, I'm on Mintable. I am dropping a collection on OpenSea very, very soon. I'm really excited about this. We've worked on it for a really, really long time, but it's going to be very special and have to do with Somnium Space, their metaverse virtual world. So I'm super, super excited about that. So please stay tuned for that. Right now, my NFTs are on mintable.app/u/Oly, OLY. So.
Yeah. And one of the other things that like I do in the space is I work for a company called Crypto Writer, and Corey and I, my usual co-host, we do a show daily, but we also do a roundtable. And Nathan and Ollie, I'm thinking about always new ideas and ways to put together this roundtable. And I think one of the things that we're going to have to do eventually, because we're meeting some incredible musicians and artists on the show, is we're going to have like an NFT based, musician roundtable over there, where we just have people come in and talk about their experiences and moving from that, traditional music background into art or into music. So please come and join us for that as well. I really, really, really appreciate everything that you've done. And I haven't listened to very much of your music. Like, I've listened to maybe about 50% of what's on Spotify. But yeah, well, I mean, 50% is not bad, because like I just found you through Nathan, a couple days ago.
That's awesome.
So check the YouTube links below. Go support Ollie in everything that she does and everything that you can, because we want to see people achieve their superstardom in reality. And you, in my opinion, are already a superstar.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much. Stay tuned on Friday the 13th. Coming up August, I have a release with an amazing Nigerian songwriter named Yubi, and a producer I've worked with before named Apollo Orpheus, and that's going to be a fun, dancey kind of dance hall mix song.
Awesome.
It'll be awesome.
Definitely look out for that, everybody, because and what's your you want to give a shout out to all your socials real quick and your website and everything, just so we give you a chance to like really promote everything?
Yeah. Find me olysounds.com, OLYSOUNDS, and everywhere else on Twitter, Instagram. I'm at olysounds. So
all of the links are below in the YouTube for those of you that read the comments. And if you don't read the comments, well, just read the comments.
I don't read anything. That's why I'm like, for people like me, let me just say this. And just one last question. This is like the most important question. If aliens did land here, what would you say to them?